Okay, this has been absolutely ages. Well, if this is working, I should check that this is working first of all. Um, I assume I have. This is still the only reason that my old laptop ever gets used nowadays. Um, okay, but this has. Okay, it seems the stream is coming up. Let's go. Okay, cool, nice, and um, currently that's a little bit in my peripheral vision. We'll see how easy I find it to read chat. That is assuming that anyone is, or that anyone turns up, because I mean, it turns out when you stream, when you haven't done anything for like a year, people might not. I'm also gonna, let's move my, do I want to move my mic? Yeah, I'm, yeah, okay, this way I can, this is probably my best bet for seeing chat. Yes, in a fix, this is where you heckle. Oh boy. Having you in chat for this is terrifying. So yeah, the plan here, I don't think I'm going to be aiming for a complete run, because there's still a section or two that I do need to, well, I mean, okay, I'd obviously love a complete run of this. Oh yeah, also, Idifix, for your sake, notes that I did say LU's hardest remaining parkour route, because so for those who don't know, they've, well, I guess to be fair, outside of conversations with myself and Idifix, I probably haven't ever actually discussed this list of routes. But basically, there is like a trinity of three very difficult routes, two of which Idifix has completed. This is the remaining route. I would say this is a weird one in terms of difficulty. Skill issue count. I want you to know, I saw something flick up in the corner of out of the corner of my eye, and I looked away there and nearly failed that jump because of that message. Your actions have consequences. I mean, yeah, the skill issue count is going to be incredibly high today. Case in point, it would be nice to, yeah, okay. This is not ideal, because I am at the moment having to literally turn my head if I want to see any comments. I mean, I guess the one nice thing about this route is, so out of the three routes, there's the Nexus Tower route. This is for anyone who happens to watch this back, given that Idifix is already here and he knows this. There's the Nexus Tower route, there is the shark jumping route in Gnarled Forest, and there is this route. The Nexus Tower route has one of the weirdest jumps I think I've ever routed. It's a very, very strange jump. I've got to remember the lineup for this. I think it's like that. There we are. Okay, I'm gonna stop here for a second so I can speak without doing too many things at once. The chaos you could bring, indeed, that is why I fear you. But yes, the shark jumping one is, you are jumping on a ton of smashables with really complicated hitboxes, but really small things to jump, and because they're smashables, you can't ground pound on them. And they're a series of quite precise jumps. That is like the precise opposite of what I'm doing here, because here, after every single jump, I can ground pound. Then, I don't know, do you have a video of you completing the shark route, Idifix? I think I got a video the first time you did it, but I don't know if you have one from your perspective. But then there is also the Nexus Tower route, which Idifix does have a video of and has just completed again recently to actually get a full all the way through video. And that one, yeah, that one, I guess there are a lot of safe spaces you can stop. It is similar to this in that regard, but it is also yeah, that's a very different genre, because that one you can see everything you're aiming for. Here, if I could see the walls I was aiming for, this would be a trivial challenge, more or less. This would not be difficult. But being unable to see where I'm aiming for, stuff like that happens. And yes, so this is also why we're breaking out the teleports, because there are going to need to be so many attempts at this that, honestly, what I'm going to count as a victory for me is getting through. So you may notice I'm teleporting to somewhere that is already out of bounds. If I were actually starting this route, I would need to be starting from inbounds, which is, I really came off at the wrong angle. So I guess I should do this just for the sake of demonstrating the full route for people, because I think, whilst I would love to get the route during this stream, I think that's unlikely. I think the aim is just going to be to demonstrate how the route would be done. I mean, ideally I manage the full route, but I'm not betting on that. So this is the out of bounds. It is not a particularly difficult one. You can jump straight for this, but I've forgotten where it is, because I've not done this in quite a while with like reduced graphics settings. Yeah, there we are. I can't believe that, like, for years I thought that jump was impossible. Such an easy, like, you can do that jump without a quick skill even. But yeah, so that's the start of this route. I'm not too worried about practicing that, just because, like, that bit is, whilst I will mess it up, that bit is something that it is very well known how you can do it. So like, that's not as much of a concern as documenting this. And now we've got, I don't know why this happens sometimes. It seems to come and go, but getting, like, real latency in terms of commands. It seems to be related to when I'm thinking when I go to, like, that's bad. When I go to new areas, etc. But it might also, one thing I've noticed is, like, when I'm if I, like, run up near Stromlings, I'm not going to move this time. When I run up near Stromlings over there, that can seem to increase the time. If this does keep up being like a 10-second... Okay, it wasn't quite 10 seconds, but being like a couple of second thing on teleport, I might really log. Oh, I'm amazed that landed. Okay, that didn't. Okay, this start. So yesterday I put a lot of practice into the end because, to be honest, by default I get more. Oh yeah, I should also show the recovery. So if you do fall off here, you end up down here. If you fall off like here or something like that, you can still recover. You don't want to end up on this downward slab, but if you walk up there and then jump there, you're safe. If you go a little bit further to the right, things bad. Yeah, Idifix, this is no shadow. Because honestly, shadow only helps with the start of this, and in principle, I mean, not that I'm demonstrating this right now, but in principle, the start of this should be by far the easiest bit. Or at least the start of this is the bit where, over like all the time, over like my total hours practicing this, because, okay, recently I've basically just practiced this in the past couple of days, and I'm not aiming well at the moment. Case in point. But in general, the start, which is the bit you can use your shadow to help you with, that's the easiest part of this. Again, I'm not really proving that statement with my gameplay at the moment, but it is the easier bit. So, yeah, and yes, for context, as to why we're talking about shadows, etc., for lots of invisible wall parkour, so say, for instance, there is a route onto the roof of the... onto the side of the spider cave. Yep, over there. You can't just walk straight. There are too many invisible walls. If you want to get from one side over to the roof of the spider cave, you need to do an invisible wall run. That one is made orders of I shouldn't have kept running there. That one's made orders of magnitude easier by using your shadow to basically just show when there is an invisible wall underneath you. But that works because the invisible walls underneath you are at an angle. The issue is, whilst the invisible walls for this section are angled, and so you can watch your shadow appear and disappear, and that will tell you where the invisible wall is. The invisible walls in the next section, which we haven't made it to yet, and we're not going to make it to if I keep playing like this. The invisible walls in the next section are like entirely vertical, so you can get nothing out of them. Now, I used to have a strategy whereby I bugged the... So when you're building a rocket, there's a little, or maybe it's other stuff as well, but rockets what specifically springs to mind for me right now. When you're building a rocket, you get a little circle that appears underneath you whilst you're holding a rocket piece, and you can... Oh, I missed this. Yep. Show. And you can bug that to remain beneath you indefinitely, and unlike your shadow, there is no... so if you're sufficiently high above the ground, your shadow won't appear on the ground. In the case of that icon from rocket building, that appears however far down you are. And so in principle, that icon could be absolutely huge. However, I don't know if the bug you do to make that appear is live accurate, and if I'm going to the effort of doing this, I kind of want to do it properly. And so, yes, regarding the shadow, there is a bug where when you load the game, and I have no idea what causes this, and I think I've asked, I'm not certain I've gotten an answer from anyone as to what does cause it. There's a bug where when you load the game, your shadow may or may not appear, and it's annoying for certain kinds of parkour, but for this one, I kind of want to do it without the shadow anyway, so, or the shadow doesn't help in the latter section. So, okay, I think, I mean, I really should know, I should practice this start, or, you know, I could just first try the end. Nope, not this time. So the way I'm planning on doing this is I'm planning on segmenting up the different parts of this, and okay, I should not be failing this start. At least, well, okay, I'm allowed to fail it somewhat, but I shouldn't be failing it quite this badly. This isn't... This is bad, this level of messing it up. Basically, what I'm looking at the moment is... It is really, really hard to go through this whole thing without making any mistakes. And so, I am hoping that with a bit of practice, I can break this up into more or less 3 segments, and I can get the probability of succeeding each segment to maybe, well, ideally better than 1 in 10. Because even then, that would be 1,000 attempts to pull it off. Skill issue, indeed. Indeed. And if you want to see someone attempting this without skill issues, Idafix will be streaming this the entirety of next week. And so you, no, I'm as tempting as it is to go online and spread misinformation. But okay, yeah, I want to be at the stage where I'm getting this first section all the way round And basically to the tree line, I would like to be getting this section. I don't want to say most. I'd like to be getting this section a good 20% of my attempts. The thing is, people are used to hearing me spread information online, so if okay. Oh yeah, okay. That was on me. I didn't do the line up there. So yeah, I'm not going to go over in this video all of the rough lineups I'm using. I do have what I should post everything to a Google Doc. It's currently on a thread in the speedrunning Discord. A list of, they're actually slightly outdated now, outdated over like the past 2 days, but a list of all of the lineups I was using. A couple of them have changed just because they were not as consistent as I would have liked them to be. Oh yeah, and in terms of self-imposed rules for this, I'm also making the self-imposed rule that I can't stick things to my computer screen, or I can't use other on. I can't make myself any on-screen indicators that aren't present, in the game. Reason being that in the later section, it would actually be very, very useful. Yeah, I fall there. It would be very, very useful to have something which shows me exactly where I am on the ground. That was what I was originally using I'll call it a rocket shadow, I guess. The rocket part locator icon. That's what I was originally using that for. In fact, at one point, I think I was using... I think it was the Space Marauder offhand item. Not Space Marauder, Space Ranger. I missed that, yeah. The Space Ranger offhand item, because it gets a little blue glow underneath your character. And that blue glow, like the shadow... or sorry, like the rocket icon, extends arbitrarily far underneath. However, I wanted, again, if I'm going to do this route, I wanted this route to be doable by anyone, regardless of faction, and so that was also ruled out. I've ruled out a lot of things that could have made my life a lot easier with this. Okay, so I kind of need to focus. So, in principle, this first section should be more or less 100%, and if I fail, so that initial bounce it's not difficult, but I can allow myself to fail it a couple of times, mostly because if I fail it in the right way, I fall into a spot where I can just try it again. That one is, like anywhere else on this route, if I fail, there is more or less no recovery. Honestly, I don't know if the Space Ranger thing is going to be as helpful as you would think. The issue mostly being that it doesn't appear directly beneath. I guess, to be fair, you could use it, but at that stage, just put a bit of blue tack on your screen to show where the underside of your character is. I didn't miss that. Okay. I'm not paying enough attention. Okay, I am going to be careful here, because I haven't done this section of the route much today, and I failed it the couple of times I have done it. So I'm just going to double check what the lineups are. Okay, that's the one I thought it was. Okay, so at the moment, I've got a list of lineups, and these ones I more or less all have memorized. That lineup was the one I thought it was, and we're about 15 lineups in. I mean, this isn't terrible. Okay, what's the next one? Because I'm fairly certain the next lineup I have written down is wrong. And annoyingly, yesterday from practice, I started in like 2 jumps time. For that final section, which means if there's a jump I'm going to be likely to mess up, it'll be this one. That's too far left. Yep. Okay. Okay, that's not bad though. I'm relatively pleased with this. That didn't take too long to get into a position where there was a chance of me managing the finish. That I can live with. Because in principle, I think... Okay, I didn't quite make it onto the final section there, but I think that final section should be about 1 in 10 for me. And if I'm only getting better at this starting section, yeah, I can live with the time sink, I think, or the amount of time it will take me to finish from there. I think this actually, basically, I'm trying to convince myself that this seems reasonable. Again, I don't know if I'm going to bother doing this from the very start. I might get this to the point of I've done this with the hard bits at the end, and I'll leave it to someone else to complete it from the... I've done the hard bit at the end, and I'll leave it to someone else to get the whole thing, including the start. That might be what that comes to. I did not properly line that jump up, I'll be honest. I kind of just eyeballed that midair. But yes, so for this section, so it's kind of interesting because as you go from section to section, the strategies you use actually vary. So for this first section, because the ground's relatively close behind you, it makes a lot of sense to line your character up with stuff on the ground beneath... Oh, this is bad. Okay. To line your character up with stuff on the ground that's beneath you, and I didn't miss that. Okay. If I turn... I'm going to have to do a turn and a jump in one move here, because I think if I turn, I slide off. I wasn't wrong. Okay, so there was an alternative way I could have played that. I could have jumped, and when you jump, you do get a tiny bit of sideways momentum in the direction of the... like, kind of pushing you away from the wall if you're kind of slipping off one side. I could have used that momentum to tell me which direction I needed to correct in, and I could have probably fixed that. Maybe that would be the strategy for something like that in future, but... So yeah, I don't know. At least for the moment, I'm going to count it as a win if teleporting up to that respawn point, I can make it from there to the end. And I should say actually where the end goal is, because I realise I haven't done that yet. That would have been a rather important thing to do. The end goal is to make it around here. We're going to run all the way along the wall, all the way along here, all the way along here. It's one big invisible wall, and we're going to try and land over here. And as you can see, because I've come over here now, it's going to lag out and take a second for me to teleport back. And I don't know why going over there specifically makes it take longer. Like, it feels like it's because I'm getting in range of Stromlings and I'm making their AI do something. Maybe it's got a little bit to do with me being in a place they can't reach. I don't know. But yeah, so that's the aim. It is really dumb, but basically the reason this route exists is because right when I started doing LU parkour, I really wanted to get on top of the roads in Avant Gardens. However, for almost the entirety of that road's existence, you can't collide with it. It is just visual. And one of the few places you can actually collide with the road is right there. And so that's why the... Oh, that felt like I was going to miss it there. Yes, that is why the entire aim of this is just... is simply... It's a long route to make it onto that road. That's also the reason that I, the person who normally does routing, is attempting this rather than Idifix, the person who's actually quite good at consistency. And, okay, yeah. I know what I did wrong there. Is because this is not the flashiest of ending positions. Then again, actually, having said that, the Nixus Tower route also really isn't the flashiest of ending positions. Arguably, the middle of that route is more impressive than... Okay. Arguably, the middle of that route is more impressive than the end of it. By order to magnitude. Actually, let me... I realise I should... have up Discord so Idifix can DM me when he gets that that route done. Actually, can I get up Discord on... That's going to be an interesting question. I mean, hopefully two-factor authentication won't let me do this. Okay. Idifix has not yet sent me a video of him managing the managing the Gnarled Forest Sharks route, but let's see. Will Discord remember me, basically, after probably years since I last used this laptop for logging onto Discord? It's looking unlikely. Managed it, forgot to press record. I believe that. That's fairly on brand for you. Please log in again. Yeah, there we are. Let's do two-factor authentication, and let's not do my instinctive thing and read the numbers out loud whilst live streaming. I mean, to be fair, you all don't know my password, but still, I would much prefer it if... And no, I'm not going to log in with my... Yay! Okay, cool. So now I can keep essentially everything unnecessary closed on this laptop, and if people... I say if Idifix manages this, then... manages his personal quest. I can't even... So the laptop I'm using, I've currently got my setup at the moment is I've got my current laptop and my old laptop that I probably got in like 2012 or something like that. It is, and I'm using that to see chat and everything like that. But it is not happy with being called back into active duty. It is, I would say, quite deeply unhappy with that fact. Okay, cool. Everything on there is muted, and I can now see... Cool, if I get any relevant messages during this. Nice, okay, cool. Let's go. I got lucky with landing that. That was a good mid-air correction on that jump, and then we spin, and that's... I'm surprised that wasn't too far right. I'm going to try and correct on that. I don't like that. Okay, I'm not liking some of these lineups I'm doing here. This should land it. Okay, cool. Okay, so this gets into the section I practiced yesterday, and I have a couple of different routes for managing this. The big thing I need to do at this stage is to start. Okay, this is not a good time for my computer to be jittering on moves, because in principle, too much CPU. Okay, I do not need my LU database browser. I do not need Skype. To be honest, I don't need Edge. Can get rid of all of those. Okay. I mean, realistically, I'm highly unlikely to make it this attempt. I've already messed. Okay, I did mess up there, but apparently not so badly that I failed. Yeah, okay, cool. I was not anticipating that attempt working out. That's not bad, though. Like, if I can keep up getting a... If I could make it to there once every 10 minutes, I'd be quite happy with that. And also, I first tried one of the harder parts of that there. Those couple of jumps around the stairs by the AG landing pad are... They are probably the least consistent part of that ending section, so I'm quite pleased that I mean, okay, it was close. I did come quite close to missing a couple of times there, but I'm quite pleased with... That was much better than it could have been, is what I'll say. Okay, so that one was a case of that actually would have landed, but I waited too long to press Alt. So that's one of the other weird things with this, is because I can't see where I'm landing, it's very plausible to like wait to land and not have realized it, essentially, or to be incredibly close to landing and not realize that, just because I can't see where the ground is. But yeah, so this is essentially just a super weird route. I really like this. It is definitely... It's definitely one of the... Well, to be fair, all of the like final... I'm in my head calling them the final three. All of those parkour routes are weird, in one way or another. The Nexus Tower route, I would say, is the most classical, as it were. But then right in the middle of it, it has this one absolutely wild jump. Which requires a trick that no other jump, to my knowledge, in the game uses, because it requires you, in order to make the jump, you're going to hit the trajectory you need to take. You need to start off, you need to use a speed boost, but then you need to press shift to initially walk and start off moving which is like a feature a lot of people don't even know is in the game. I didn't for years. You need to start off walking and then Sorry, I should concentrate here. You need to start off walking and then let go of shift in midair to make your double jump. It is a very, very weird jump, but is, I mean, basically unique. I can't think of another place in the game where you need to do a jump like that. I mean, okay, needs to is a stretch, obviously. None of these parkour routes need to, but where getting from one place to another would require a jump like that. Outside of the fact that I guess anyone could build a property where such a jump is required, but yeah, in any event, it is still a very, very cool jump. And then the gnarled forest route is either not classical parkour or incredibly classical parkour, depending on how you look at it, in the fact that essentially all the time I have been doing parkour, the way you make precise jumps is exactly what I'm doing here, which is an absolute ton of ground pounding. Because ground pounding kills your momentum, or kills all horizontal momentum, and makes it much, much, much easier to land precise jumps. However, I guess back in the day, from all I've seen of people doing out of bounds stuff, no one ever really seemed to do that. So I guess if you're actually going back to the kinds of tricks people might have managed or would have been likely to do in live, I think actually this ground pound, that's annoying. This ground pound momentum cancelling actually doesn't seem like something that people really did, and so in that sense, I guess the sharks are like, that's parkour that people could have managed in live. And then you've got this parkour route, which is very, very simple in terms of, if the walls were visible, this would be a trivial route. And because the walls are not visible, stuff like that can happen, and it becomes a very, very non-trivial route very, very quickly. It's also a kind of weird route for the fact I use such a heavy top-down camera angle on this route, which is necessary for the sake of managing lineups and getting lineups consistent, because otherwise parallax will screw you, but it does just feel weird. It's like I basically only use my normal parkour camera angle for this very starting jump. And then immediately I top down for essentially the entire rest of the route. But yes. Yeah, welcome to the grind. Half the reason, the other thing is, half the reason I'm streaming this is solely because I want to catch a successful attempt on camera, but I don't have enough free space to record on my laptop, because like it would be recording probably a few hours of footage if I wanted to get up to a successful attempt. That's too far, right? No, it isn't. Wow. And yeah, my computer does not have that kind of storage. So instead we're getting this all live streamed. And I could have done an unlisted live stream. In fact, before this, there were like 7 unlisted live streams of me trying to get settings I was happy with. Or, okay, not settings that I was happy with, because this laptop is still a little slow for certain things involved in recording, but at least a setup which was moderately viewable and where I wasn't dropping frames every 10 seconds. Or at least wasn't dropping an absurd number of frames every 10 seconds. I probably still am dropping some. Let's see. No, I'm apparently doing pretty well. It was over an hour ago that I last dropped any frames. That's an absolute win. At some point also I'm going to find out that my the chat's just frozen. Someone's come in and sent their first message and I've completely missed it. But yeah, I'm not hating. We're getting moderately consistent at the start. I'm quite happy with that. I think I needed to go slightly less to the left and slightly further forward there. Obviously, I slid off to the left, so less to the left is obvious. But I think part of that was, I think because of how that invisible wall was angled, I think actually just going further would have solved it. Because I think that wall does bend to the left a little bit. At least it feels like it. Because, oh yeah, this isn't just a thing of like, I can't see the invisible walls whilst I'm doing this. No. I have never seen the invisible walls. So I don't even know, like, roughly what this looks like. I am solely guessing based off of intuition from many attempts. Okay, but I should get back to concentrating because I should not be messing up this start quite as much as I am. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it would be ideal. Because I need to get a lot of attempts at the ending, and I've really not had that many so far. Okay, everything went wrong there, but I managed to survive. I got very, very lucky. Okay, that one. So there's the geometry right at the very top there is annoying to deal with. That's the crux, pardoning the pun, of this starting area, of this starting loop, is that very top there. Because the issue is with the rest of this, the walls, okay, this section is steep, but it's also just going in a straight line, so I'm not too worried about messing it up. Whereas when we come up to this ending part here, the invisible walls go a little bit weird. The fastest route is essentially just to jump over the peak, but I can't see how high is over. And so if you don't jump high enough at the start, your double jump will end up landing you precisely on the peak, which sounds really good, aside from the fact that if you're trying to double jump and ground pound, you land on the peak and then attack, and that attack pushes you a little bit forward and you immediately fall off. Technically recoverable, but far harder to recover than just basically trying to avoid the peak in its entirety. Which I think has personally seemed to give me, or attempting to do so has certainly seemed to give me the best results. It's too far to the left? No, it's not. Ah! That's annoying. Oh, wait a second. I have gotten messages from... Made it twice before. When you say all done on that interface, can you send me the link? If I want to show it off. That's easier than a screenshot of you saying all done. I'm assuming it's just uploading, but I'm legally allowed to roast you. Iconic idefix moments of made it twice before remembering to actually have the recording going. This is just, yeah, this is canonical. Okay, cool. How do I... It's the easiest way of posting. I'm really tempted to just manually type in the... I should do this. I should do this properly, and properly isn't starting Chrome. That's starting Edge, because that's where I'm logged into Ninja Warlog. Okay, let me just chuck both of your videos in, I guess, the description. It's probably easier to not type in the full URL and just look up idefix goal. Shark parkour route, let's go. Right, where do I actually put this? The live stream, that would be a good place. Let's put both this and the... let's mute before I have to hear myself being played back. Okay, okay, we've got the shark parkour route, and let's also get your... Let's get the final one in the trio. The Nexus Tower parkour route. Let's go. There we are. It's one, and that is the second one. Can I do multi-line comments? No, I can't. Would have been... Is there a way of doing multi-line messages in YouTube chat? Because ideally, I put both of those in one message and pin it. Honestly, well, okay, I could, I guess, just do. Let's do this. Okay, 2 routes in the trio. Copy link. Can I... Would it be Control Enter then? Will that let me? No, okay, I can't. I just can't chuck an enter. Okay. Other 2 routes in the trio. Sharks. And... Nexus Tower. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. That'll do. Pin message. There we are. All right. Cool. Let's close everything and get back. Okay, cool. Let's go. I really hope I put the right Nexus Tower video on, not the one that was your first recorded attempt, but also has a cut in the middle. Yep, okay, so that is what happens when you mess that up and precisely land on the top. Fortunately, we got lucky. Too far right? No. Alright. I mean, yeah, these couple of... that was quite far to the right there. These couple of jumps, in principle, I don't want to be falling off. Well, I don't want to be falling off on any of them, but those ones, in principle, I shouldn't fall off on. I think I go for this route. Is that too far left? Dang it. Okay. That one, that one, really, I just need to sit down, and the first half of this, I am basically entirely running... I'm running more or less on instinct and, like, making corrections on the fly. That ending part, I need to be consciously remembering precisely what the lineups are, where the invisible wall actually is. I cannot... Because I think what's happening there is I'm somewhat I can't speak. I'm somewhat autopiloting the very end. Which is because to get attempts at this start, just to get enough of them rapidly enough, I kind of do want to be autopiloting. But the issue is autopiloting here gets me into the habit of not thinking too carefully about lineups, which then leads to mistakes later on. But I do think autopiloting this section is important to keep me sane, or at least relatively sane. If you think sanity is a bit of a stretch for a guy who's spending a couple of hours on his Easter Monday grinding out this route. Oh, I see. I thought I remembered you saying there was a cut in it for some reason. I did not recall why the cut was there. And rip me. Yeah, actually, I'm quite glad I have a video that's that demonstrates that route that is slightly less of a meme than the this is how you get that heart flag. Not that that wasn't an incredible meme, but it's nice to have a slightly more official completion that I can show people to demo that route. I mean, it saves you one quick build. That was actually something that I did look at one point, was LU without quick builds. And technically, if you wanted to get... if you were to get as many of the backpack flags as possible in Nexus Tower. Without quick builds, that probably would be quite an important route. I'm trying to think. Okay, I did mess that jump up because I was distracted trying to, in my head, go through I mean, I can't actually remember many backpack flags in Nexus Tower, but I'm trying to remember which areas in Nexus Tower actually require quick builds, because there aren't that many. The only one I can think of off the top of my head is the Imagination Brick area. Oh, and I guess the flag above the Sentinel Vault I should not be autopiloting, because this area is not an autopilot safe area. I mean, I'd love it if it got to the stage of being autopilot safe, but it's too far right. Yep, but it definitely is not there yet. I really need to, when we get out of this first section, I really need to just slow down. Don't need a quick build for the Imagination Brick. Oh no, of course you don't, because you've got the I forgot. Yeah, you've got the route up from Overbuild's platform, right? That's just Quixocle, right? If I'm recalling correctly. Yeah, okay, that was way too far left. I knew that was. I realised as I ground pounded there that I'd let autopilot take me too far. So yeah, actually is the only place you would need a quick build the Nexus Tower Vault then. Which is such an annoying place, incidentally, to be the only place you need a quick build, because you just need the tiniest amount of height gain. But I vaguely recall that previous times I looked. Oh no, wasn't that? That one's doable with a. That one's fine. You just need a speed boost, right? I think as well, because you just speed boost from the crates that it wants you to smash. So I think that's then all of the heart flags, or all of the backpack flags in Nexus Tower then are feasible, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. Incidentally, it always felt so weird to me that Blue Imaginite, that for some reason, for getting backpack space, that's the only thing in the game you buy that requires you to get one quest to buy it. But I guess that was just because they didn't have a huge amount of stuff in the game for. I guess they do, to be fair. I was going to say a huge amount of stuff for dynamically changing what's in a vendor for a single person. Then again, to be fair, that's basically just on a accolade, really, where the vendor changes per person, and I guess Johnny Umami. But I guess, to be fair, you could probably Johnny Umami, it changes based on what quests you've completed. I guess there could be an internal achievement for getting backpack flags. Or for completing. Yeah, so okay, I guess you could probably have. I guess that was a choice, not a necessity of what their code base looks like at the time. And I've also been given by Idafix the challenge of at some point working out the minimum spring shoes for a reverse Nexus Tower route. Although I'm kind of on the fence as to this might literally just be trivial and just be a case of you just need to count the number of spring shoes you need. Hey Visky, yes indeed, new ninja. It has been a while, but we do indeed have some new ninja content. Good to see you. But yes, as prophecy foretold, the return of the Visky shall herald the return of the ninja. And prophecy foretold correctly. And also, that means that you're to blame for the fact I didn't return before now. So when people ask me why it's been so long, I can blame that on you. Also, you will have gotten that album out by now, right? Hey, Harcronium. Because that album was like a day away. Oh, I wasn't paying attention there. Dang it. Okay, the number of runs which have died to autopilot here recently is so high. I probably should make myself a checkpoint soon. Ah, track by track. Nice. Yeah, I probably should make myself a checkpoint soon and practice from practice the middle section to the end. Because okay, I am failing this. I'm failing this more than I should, but in principle, I at least do know what is going on here. But yeah, where are you releasing it? Is this a SoundCloud kind of thing, a Spotify kind of thing, a YouTube kind of thing? I assume I would have been notified had it been YouTube on your main channel kind of thing. I mean, I'm doing decently. Cranium, I can watch the Shark Parkour one real quick. So I've seen the Nexus Tower one, but I've not watched. I don't think I've ever seen a POV attempt of the shark route. I mean, seriously, that makes that route look easy. Which we both know it isn't. We both know it's really not an easy route. But that genuinely does make that route look easy. Well, that's what I was thinking. I've not seen too many. There aren't too many small musicians on Spotify, at least as well. It doesn't feel like YouTube in terms of literally anyone can just upload stuff. Spotify has felt like you need a certain degree of credibility. I didn't know that was related to distributors. That was way too far to the right there. Scary. But yes, for all of you just joining, there are a series of 3 routes, the first 2 of which are in the pinned comment, which kind of form the trifecta of difficult LU parkour routes, and this is the final one in that trifecta and has not yet been completed, and Idefix does not want to do it, so it's, unless any of you guys want to, it feels like it's on me to actually pull it off, which is annoying. As Vaisky, you can certainly confirm, I far more enjoy theory crafting, coming up with cool strats, and then having other people actually, you know, do the hard work of pulling them off. Can I recover? Nope. Ah, that's way too... How was that not way too far to the left? Okay, but Idefix, can you make that short with some Subway Surfer footage in the background? Because, I mean, otherwise, like... Otherwise, I'm going to get bored partway through. This probably fails. No, okay. My recovery strat there does work. I just, for obvious reasons, don't want to be doing recovery strats. The phrase recovery strat is never a good thing. Nice acronym. In Lego Universe, I'm gonna take the whatever the easiest jump is, because my propensity to accidentally fail at easy jumps, well, is, to be honest, the only reason this live stream is still going. Oh, no, that's not good. Because that's the thing with this particular route. None of the individual jumps here are difficult. Literally none of them at all. Oh, incidentally, let me... Or Idefix, would you mind posting the timestamp of the cool jump in the Nexus Tower route? Because I don't know if you have if either of you would have seen this if I skill acronym, but it is it's possibly the weirdest jump in LU. I think I feel relatively confident in saying. Because it requires that you walk and run. Or, yeah, it requires essentially that you press and release shift with a specific timing mid-air. Because otherwise you will bang your head on a ceiling. Okay, I'm just going to take a second and not rush. And I still failed. I think past a certain point, I need to implement a rule of I just spend at least 1 second waiting in between jumps. Just so I properly... Like, from after this start section, just so I properly have things lined up. But yeah, that is... So that's kind of the reason why, honestly, out of these routes, this route is comprised entirely of very easy jumps, just made difficult by the fact that they're invisible. And that is the... I miss... No, I don't. And that is the only source of difficulty in this route. Okay. I'm failing my rule there. I'm not slowing down. Waiting. Calmly waiting in between the jumps. Okay. There are about two. There are two different routes I can go from here, and I don't know which one to take. Because nah, I should go the one I've been doing today. Okay, this is second furthest we've been all day. That's too far left. No, it's not. Okay. She'll be bound to fall here. Honestly, I'm kind of expecting. Yeah, I messed up there. Did I? No, that was. I just didn't commit. Dang it. Okay, that one's on me. I was going to aim for the right spot. I doubted myself in midair. But okay, okay. Sure, we're bound to fall here. It was indeed bad to fall there, but oh well. That is the furthest we have made it. Furthest we've made it today. And to be honest, if we get much further past that, we're more or less done. Like, I think I feel relatively confident in saying that is the, like, we're definitely getting on to the easier. The ending, as we get up to the very end, becomes easier there. Okay. You can hear the sharp intake of breath. Okay, overshoot there. But honestly, I take that because overshoots are good. I have a tendency to undershoot that final section. So overshooting I can definitely live with. And yeah, the whole reasoning being that for this first section, I'm roughly lining up that's too far, yeah. Too far right. I'm roughly lining up all of my landing spots based on my minifigure's feet. And the issue is, once you get over there, you're so far up above the ground that because the camera doesn't actually go straight down, the point you are directly above is no longer precisely at the minifigure's feet. It's now slightly behind. And so overshooting there I see is actually quite a good thing because I have a tendency to go by far the other way. And I'm practicing something I want to both be overshooting and undershooting, but overshooting is the one I do less often there. So, nope, we call that a win. Even though it was, of course, not the actual win that I was going for and that I wanted. But yeah, I would have been surprised had I managed this within that period of time. It's probably... Wow! Okay, that I didn't expect. Well, okay. It felt too far left, but I didn't actually think it was going to be. Because I didn't change the camera angle, and normally I would expect to have to change the camera angle there. Okay, and now we're just failing this starting bit. Cool. I turned... Well, so actually, I could probably turn in-game audio back. I mean, that might drive me mad. I probably could turn it back on. I initially had it off because I had other things on my desktop and I didn't want those to be making noises, but to be honest... let's turn off performance mode. Let's... I think I probably still have LU muted, so let's unmute LU. How's the mixing of that? Oh, I definitely need to put performance mode back on. Yeah, it was intentional, but because I've now closed basically everything else, I don't think it needs to be. And I... Hidefix is logged in, great. Hey, Hidefix. Wait a second. I'm hoping that you logging in means you're going to join me in attempting this, right? I'm assuming that's probably not what it means, but, I'm hoping it is. Because, I'll be real with you, I am less invested in being the first person to manage this, more just invested in someone managing it at some point. Which is kind of why I want to do this. I just want to get a demo. Okay, I'm bad. I'm regressing. I'm regressing by a lot. At least I fell the right side on that one. Hello there. You are currently GM level blue. If someone following me is going to be incredibly scary for this. Okay, had to use the backup route there, but that's fine. Backup route worked out. I'm amazed that landed it. Okay. And now I pause for a second. Honestly, I'm kind of tempted to try the jump from here. Is that dumb? It's probably dumb. But no, I don't hate that. I can line that up. I mean, not that I demonstrated my ability to line that up there, but I totally can. I've got to wonder why the hiccup tablets. Hey, August. Good to see you regardless. Thanks for stopping by. Ah, and down he goes. So it is savable from there. But also, if you want the coordinates I use... for my resets. I mean, I guess you could have seen that from the stream. But... You can recover from that position. It's just faster to teleport. This okay. I'm going backwards. I'm going backwards. This is not good. Let's just take a second, slow down, And fail again. But yeah, so I would say most of the tricks with this are there are lineups, but the way you make things consistent is ensuring that your direction of travel is lined up with one of the walls, because it's quite hard if you're just going straight forwards and you've got to land on an invisible wall. It is really difficult to time your ground pound so you precisely land on the invisible thing, especially when you're like far above the points you're using for your lineup. No, I don't miss. Okay. Oh, cool bug. Would have preferred. So that was I hit Alt too late there. That's what gave rise to that. Is that still hide? Wait, Hidefix is still in Crux Prime. What? You on is? No, that is Hidefix. Okay, that's just LU moment. Valid. LU gets to have LU moments. I'm currently having many ninja moments right about now, so. I discovered this through a combination of quite a few different things. So for this initial section, there was a lot I could discover from watching my shadow. You know, when my shadow exists and doesn't bug itself into... I was going to say bug itself into the shadow realm, but, well, pun unintended there. Recover? No. Yeah, so it was initially... So for this first section, you can kind of do that. This first section, you can also mess around with the big one. I can demonstrate that at least. So if I'm here, I can... apparently I'm not far enough to demonstrate that. No, okay, let me get up on the wall and I can demonstrate it from there. I said let me get up on the wall and I can demonstrate it from there. I said... Hidefix doing a decent demo whilst I fail, but yeah, you can use the... In certain sections... Yeah, there... Because the little thing appeared. Yeah, you can tell from when it appears, maybe when it disappears. You can work out where exactly the invisible walls are. Nice. And so for this first section, through a combination of using your shadow and using the big one, that's how we worked out this first section. Then for the later sections, it basically comes to... It kind of did come down to trial and error, which you can make so much faster by just doing... I would typically do /spawn31, which spawns a little brick beneath you, do /lock, and then /teleport from there. To essentially make yourself a respawn point. But yeah, because for this section, both the pro and the con is that the invisible walls here are entirely vertical, meaning you can't really do big one or shadow stuff. But what you can therefore do, because they are almost entirely vertical, is you can just go down to ground level, and most of the time, if there isn't a tree in the way, or some weird stuff like there is the stairs away from the landing pad, Most of the time, from ground level, you can actually just walk up to the wall and see roughly where the wall is, which is how I arrived at a lot of these. So for this jump here, you can't really do that as well. I like the music fading out for dramatic effect here. I think this works. Nice. I got lucky there. Got kind of lucky there, to be honest. We're on a lucky run. This is the point where, as of yesterday, I shouldn't be failing it. However, I haven't made it here today. Oh, this might be bad. Nope. Okay. No, not like that. That was it. That. No. Oh, that was so close. Dang it. That was... Oh. Oh well. Oh well. We go again. 2 in a row? 2 in a row, anyone? Oh. Ain't no way. Indeed, there was no way. Wait, do you need GM level to teleport? You don't, right? You're just GM 1. Oh no, that's... that is frustrating. Because, like, okay, you make it through a couple of those. We were on the end section, which was easy. We were actually there 2 jumps away from making it. That was so close. You need GM 8 and above for teleport? Huh. I really thought that was a lower level. Okay, I'm gonna try the skip here. That was dumb. I want to start trying that though. I mean, I guess I can TP all you whenever I respawn. But anyway, if you wanted I mean, part of why I did this was for the sake of getting a video showing the route. I at least now have a video showing almost all of the routes up until the final 2 jumps. I can't believe that. I mean, I totally can believe it. It was, as I was saying, it was a lucky run. Like, there were a couple of points where I felt like I possibly should have died there. Okay, this lands it. Nice. That was close. But sometimes we can pull off. This is probably too far. Yep. I can't TP all? Oh, I could. It just took a second. Oh no. Sorry, my bad. I'm so used to pressing up enter. Yeah, so I would recommend for this starting thing, actually, you want to get your camera looking roughly parallel with the line in the rock there. And then, so you kind of jump, get your camera parallel with the line in the rock, and then you... and then I'd actually recommend just bouncing first time off of it rather than getting a full ground pound. And that's not just for the sake of I'm still not over that. that's not just for the sake of speed. I think that probably is actually easier. Because the issue with ground pounding always is you need height, but you actually have a lot less height than you'd like there. Too far left? Yeah, too far left. Which I should remember, I'm not going for that trick. Yeah, so I stop like 1 minifigure width ahead there. You do need to stop early. It doesn't go as far as you would think. Down I go. The only annoying thing now is the question of how long is it going to be before I get another attempt like that. Like, I can ride the high of that attempt for quite a while. But yeah, so actually, let's just come over and demonstrate. I fell off. What was it? I think here? Was it here or was it one further back? No, it wasn't there. I made it past that. Yeah, so I fell off here, basically just because it's a somewhat long jump, and there is technically an easier lineup, which I forgot again, because again I was rushing, but the aim is to make it over there. That is 2 jumps. I make 1 jump on the invisible wall about here, and then I from there just jump directly. So that was how close we were there. We were absurdly close, but that's also how it goes. And because I went over in that direction, the game's now going to lag out for a little while. I don't know why this is a thing. And I teleport now. Now! Not quite. Also not quite. Hey, Knight. I'll be leaving in a second, but apparently the game's going to make me wait a little bit longer. There we are. But yeah, 2 jumps from the end. I will be, honestly, if that's the best run I get today, I will be pleased with that. I was not expecting to be making this today. So I can live with that. But yeah, I do just need to remember, I slow down, I think about the lineups. Next time I have a good run, start shouting at me in chat to slow down. Nope. Oh, that actually. Okay, I should do the route I've practiced there. I shouldn't be trying to invent a new one. I mean, okay, new route, by which I mean 1 jump that I'm trying to cut, but I've got a route which works relatively consistently and does not cut that jump. I shouldn't be trying to cut it. At least not on a day which has had a couple of good attempts. 99% of parkour is quit right before they finish the route. So true, Vaisky. I hope I'm not here at like 9 PM tonight, still repeating that to myself. in a fugue state, remembering the run that nearly was. There's a non-zero chance that if I commit too hard to that line, that I might end up doing so. Nah. Okay, that was going to be hard to recover. I've got work tomorrow. I can't 24-hour stream. I mean, okay, the one thing I tell everyone about the PhD is I love the flexibility. So, okay, technically I could. Given I'm really meant to be booking hotels and stuff for a conference coming up very shortly. Why did I do this? I mean, it's going to work, but why did I do that? I let autopilot carry me there, and autopilot did the new route. That's misses. Yeah, that's too far. That wouldn't be the first time you've watched my content when you were meant to be teaching. I still desperate. I'm gonna make some people in the finance department really unhappy with me sometime soon, because I still haven't claimed my teaching hours from the start of this academic year, which means technically we've hit a new financial year, and I still haven't claimed my hours. Yeah. I'm going to receive an annoyed email about it, I'm fairly certain. It's the annoying thing of teaching hours have just become like so much a part of the PhD that I don't think of them as separate hours, but I've now done enough that they owe me quite a bit of money. So I really can't just... I can't in good conscience pretend that the hours don't exist. Unfortunately, my issue with all of this, and the reason I haven't sorted it out yet, is because I absolutely freeze up when I'm made to fill in any kind of form. This is also the reason my accommodation and travel for the conference, actually the 2 conferences I'm going to, have not yet been booked. Despite the fact that they are coming up very, very shortly. I'm very good at physics, I'm not very good at forms. Forms stress me out. Because physics, I know when I'm getting that wrong, most of the time anyway. The cycle of messing up physics is a cycle I'm very used to. This is, incidentally, the reason one of my medically inclined friends, now I guess, no, just technically a doctor, did diagnose me with, well, strongly suggested the possibility of ADHD, at least of some form or another. Because I can do hyper-focused, but then normal stuff can elicit quite a surprising fight or flight response in me. And unfortunately, when it comes to filling in forms, that response is normally flight. It's a joke in my family that I won't finish the PhD, not because I've not done enough physics or whatever, or I failed my Viva, but simply because there'll be a form I need to fill in, and that will panic me, and I won't manage to get that done. I like that skip. I don't like going down to the corner there, because I don't necessarily have a consistent lineup for going down to the corner. I kind of just go on vibes. So I really want to use that running and jumping off to the side as a skip. Instantly, Vitski, are you happy? Are you happy for this audio of just like repeatedly for hours? I guess we do get a bit of Tyler in the background. The Tyler in the background goes hard, but no, that's way too far. I like that though. I want to incorporate that jump because it just feels neater. I'm so glad this is at the point where Ninja Value as the main channel has totally died. Because in retrospect, I totally realised those noises would be the kind of thing you would have had a field day with on Vitski Macrocosm. Okay. We do the proper route. And if I... Okay. Doing well. Could this, in fact, be it? Probably not. There's still enough room for error that I'm not getting too hyped, although the music has just turned silent. So, I mean, that's great for stressing me out. And, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, there we are. In retrospect, I realised latency is way too high for the slowing down messages to actually do what they were meant to do. Possibly having stream latency on high was not the plan. Ooh, there we are. There we are. Now I guess. Oh yeah, also, we've now got the lag because I walked over this area and there are, I guess, enemies nearby. I mean, that's... The annoying thing is I'm going to count that as a demo of the route, but of course, technically, the full route does not begin from out of bounds. The full route begins from inbounds. I'm not going to grind it out today. Let's be incredibly clear about that. I have no intention of grinding this out today. But just so I have a clip of it. It's been a very long time since I've seen that bug with quick builds not spawning in properly. But just so I have a demo of what it would look like if we did the full thing. Got a little bit of this, a little bit of this. Really? I like that bit there of I actually landed the hard jump and then just panicked and slipped off. I am very, very pleased about that. I did not think I was going to manage that today. Seriously. I mean, yesterday, I literally spent most of my time yesterday grinding. Yeah, you demonstrate it for me, Idafix. Yeah, most of my time on LU yesterday was just spent grinding out the end from the staircase by the launch pad onwards. The hope being that if I got a couple of attempts, I could make it. I'm impressed though, because I only had like probably 5 or so attempts. Probably, okay, maybe 10 or so. I guess I could count at some point on the recording. But only, like, I had a very limited number of attempts at the ending. Oh, and also, and let's do this without the... Can I do it without the... No, I apparently cannot. And, of course, because I'm in an area with enemies, the time it's going to take... Probably one of these Stromings will come over and kill me by the time my slash fly actually happens. Fortunately, I think even if you are failing, I think nobody is going to see it in a fix. Oh, I'm very, very happy. That was not meant to occur. Okay, let's hop back up. Yeah, there we are. It affixed demonstrating what I was meant to have done. I should have just speed boosted it. For some reason, I thought there was an angle you could take where you didn't need to. And now it's going to take me an equally long amount of time for the jetpack to turn off. That is one thing I like about this route. It doesn't require... I guess, to be fair, with LU Parkour in general, is that it doesn't require a lot of... You can be on a pretty bad server and most LU Parkour still works. Yeah, there we are. It affects running back and forth over here whilst I just wait for the jetpack to turn off. Wait for the game to acknowledge my existence. Just gonna hop up and down until that time happens. Come on. Yeah. This is one of the reasons why I stopped playing LU as regularly. It's just that this just occasionally happens with me on various servers. I swear I did type the second slash fly to turn it off. What's the best test I can do of whether I'm lagging out? This server is very... Okay, at least it's not just me. I guess I can do this as a test. That's a stupid test, unless I have some Quixicles somewhere on me. Please say I have some Quixicles. I mean, why would I have Quixicles? I have the Batlord helm. I'd never keep Quixicles on me if I had them. Okay. Oh, okay. Let's go. There we are. Okay. And that's the demo of the starting bit. I really would have loved it if the demo been a little bit cleaner than that. But, you know. That'll do. That gets us up to here, which was our starting point. Cool! I can be done with this now! Wow! I was not anticipating getting anywhere near done with this. Nice. Okay, well, cool. I don't know what I'm going to do for the rest of the day now, but well, it was great to have you guys around. Thank you very much for sticking around to the end and to finally making it. I'm very, very, very pleased with that. Cool. Anyway, I guess, yeah. I guess I've wrapped this up now. I don't know what I mean, at some point, I want to get... There's so much lag in stream. YouTube is ahead of me in game. Oh, no. But yes. Yes, okay. Wow. And only now is my hat coming on and off. Yes. I at some point, I mean, this is now an open challenge, right? I can help people out if people want to know the precise shape the route takes, but I have not done this full route yet. So I think this is now up to people to if anyone wants to, like, I can happily help you with all the lineups I use, all the different tricks. Yeah. If anyone wants to pull off the full route, allow this to be the gauntlets thrown down. You could be the first to manage this route. You could potentially beat Idefix to being the first to complete the full trifecta of the difficult parkour routes. Although he has got rather a head start on the first two. But this one's annoying. This one's annoying. It could take him a little while, if he so chooses. Invited me to trade. Oh no. You're aware of the amount of time it's probably going to take my game to respond to anything involved in this trade, right, Idefix? Cool. I think I do have to wrap it up at some point. I'm still on the high, but yeah. Thank you all very much for watching. I've been